We're catching up with Imogen Form and Brjann here at GDC this year to learn a little bit more about the continuation of the SteamWorld saga, moving into the future now. What's been going on with the Steambots?
Okay, so the Steambots, they've run into some pretty severe problems after SteamWorld Dig. I'm not going to go into detail, but the consequence is that SteamWorld Heist is set in a future that is set in space. So the steam-driven robots have had to go space traveling. So this time we're following Captain Piper, who is she's running a band of ragtag robots, heisting other robot ships and so on. And they're only beating up bad guys in this game. Yep.
So it's a little bit like Steambots Go Firefly or something like that.
I think that's a really great reference. We're very much into Firefly and a lot of other things that are referenced in SteamWorld Heist. So yeah, that's what happens. They go around and it's a very different type of game this time. It's a turn-based combat game set as in space, like I said, and it features steam-driven robots. So it gets a lot of implications that way.
I found it interesting to see the 2D side-scrolling turn-based action, which is something a little bit different than we're used to, perhaps. It's sort of, I don't know what to say, but it's a little bit like it's XCOM turned on its side, if you will.
Well, yeah, and that's at Imogen Form. We like to do stuff like that. We like to take ideas from games that we love, but sort of create our own mix from it. We'll never make a Me Too game, I think, but we'll be inspired by the stuff that we love, and we'll put it together to create something really unique.
And one of the things that this different perspective offers is the fact that aiming is a lot more fun, and you can do a lot more things with it than what perhaps you can from a top-down perspective.
I think so, yeah. I mean, any perspective that you have, you're going to have your own set of problems, but doing it from the side actually lets you shoot the environment and so on. You can use the walls to bounce off shots, or you can hit chandeliers, etc., and drop them in the heads of the enemies and so on. So you can do some really interesting combat stuff with that.
So these other ships that you come across, these heists that you pull, what kind of overlaying story is there? And what's going on here?
Right. Well, to start off, you run into a really terrible sort of type of robots. They're cannibalistic sort, that if they kill you, they will actually use parts from you and assemble new robots. And in the robot world, you just don't do that. That's the worst thing you can do. And so that's one faction that you run into. And later you run into other robot factions. And the story progresses the whole time. From the beginning, you're just content going about your daily business, heisting ships, getting loot, upgrading your ships, upgrading your characters, and finding new weapons, etc. But then there is like the story that transcends it, that sort of moves you forward. You have to sort of go forward in this game, and in the end, you find out who's really behind all the nasty business. And well, there are definitely some clashes to ensue on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was some interesting twists towards the end of SteamWorld Dig as well. Where are you at in development, and sort of how far have you gone with this?
So we've been working on SteamWorld Heist for over a year now, and we're getting very close to being final. So what we're showing here at GDC is just a little tiny part of the core gameplay mechanics of the game. So we're not showing any of the story. We want to keep that up until like the last moment. But we aim at being done by the end of June, and hopefully release this in just after vacation.
And what platforms are you targeting? I read something about every platform.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're not picky. We're going to go to all major platforms, or all current generation platforms. So it means the 3DS, Steam, and other PC Mac outlets, and PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation Vita, and so on. And also SteamWorld Heist has something that SteamWorld Dig didn't have, and I think it's going to work really well on touch interfaces as well. So yeah, iPads and iOS in general, and then also on Android devices. I think it's going to be quite interesting. So yeah, every platform, almost every platform, I say. Not your Game Boy.
All right, too bad. Whenever you have a game like this with a crew that you're running around with, and you got the tactical thing, permadeath. Have you considered it, or what's your approach to that, and different difficulty modes and Iron Man mode, etc.?
That's a great question, and something that we really wanted to try out for SteamWorld Heist. I mean, SteamWorld Dig, you progress and you upgrade your stuff, and if you die, it's not that bad. You lose half of your loot and so on. So we've experimented for a long time with permadeath and in SteamWorld Heist, and we just feel it gets so punishing that you get a little bit put off. So I think what we're going to do is stick to what the game does best. There's progression, there's upgrades, and so on. If you die, you will leave off where you died. That's what we're leaning towards at this stage, anyway. And you will lose something in the process, but you won't lose all of your progress. And but it also opens up for like an Iron Man mode where you actually have permadeath in place and so on. It changes the game design quite a bit, so we'll see if we'll have that day one or if it's DLC. But that's something that is really, really exciting to play. It gets dying is so expensive, so it makes you play in a very different way. And we're also going to have different difficulty settings, of course. So beating the game at the hardest mode it's not going to be very easy.
Loving hearts